All right, so we're getting a little bit of a late start, everybody, but I think everybody's set up, everybody's ready. We've got the fucking layout, everything looks right, everything is fucking set. Let's fucking go, people. I'm sorry, I'm stoked.
Sorry, I gotta go. It's been a blast, y'all.
I hate your face for that. All right, so what we are going to do tonight, I'm going to go over the structure for those people, just so everybody is all caught up and everybody knows what the plan is. There are a couple of small changes from the last time, but I think that they were all user or viewer suggestions that I think are going to work out well. So what we are going to do is we are going to go back and forth between the two teams. The actual prompt is above my head in the stream. Debating fascists helps legitimize their ideologies. We have 3 people on the affirmative, and we have 3 people on the negative. The top row is the affirmative, the bottom row is the negative, and then here in the center is the moderator and the 2 judges. When we are done, the 2 judges are going to have their votes as well as an audience poll for the 3rd vote in case there is need for a tiebreaker. Now, as far as the actual back and forth goes, it is going to start out, and I hope that you guys have already discussed amongst yourselves, but you can discuss it now if you need to publicly, I don't care, your order. So, one of the team, well, actually, fuck, I forgot to goddamn bring a coin. Lethe, do you got a coin again?
Hey, I got a coin.
Somebody, oh no, actually, I'd rather judge. Yeah, Chief, yes, Chief, please find a coin. Do you have a coin? Or a die.
I got a 20. I got a die.
I know you got a 20.
Is it a countdown die? Because otherwise that's cheating.
Hold on to it, and we will come. Yeah, no, man's right. Is it a countdown die? Is it a real die?
No,
it's real.
Okay, good.
Yeah, okay.
My camera. You're just a regular D20.
Cool.
Yeah, for some reason I thought Lethe was saying if it's not a countdown die, then it's cheating. But I'm like, those are less random.
Yeah. So and chat seems to want to do a coin flip on the internet, but I prefer the die personally. So anyhow, all right. So we're going to get to that in a second, but we're going to decide which team goes first with the roll of a die. After that, we are going to go back and forth from team 1 to team 2, team 1 to team 2. We are going to have a person from team 1 start out with a 3-minute open. Then the first person from team 2 is going to have 2 minutes to cross-examine the previous speaker. After that, they will roll directly into their own 3-minute opening, which will then turn back to team 1, who gets team 1 speaker 2, who gets to 2-minute cross-examination of the last speaker, and then 3 minutes of their own. So it's going to go back and forth with the 2-minute cross-ex, followed by a 3-minute opening. And then it is going to end, of course, with the first person to 3-minute open, cross-examining the final speaker from the other team. Now, after that, we are going to have, throughout the course of that, the judges are allowed or encouraged to direct message me some questions that they feel they need to hear answered. But the judges themselves will not be the ones asking these questions, so that way you guys cannot judge their reactions, right? Plus, it doesn't seem like the judges are directly engaging or guiding the conversation, which the next phase is the open conversation. There's going to be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, up to the judges. Once again, they're going to have to agree on this, but they're going to reach out to me and let me know what they want. If at 30 minutes they think they've heard enough, we'll call it there. If they want another 15, we go to 45. If they want another 15 after that, we're willing to go all the way up to an hour of crosstalk if they feel that it is still being productive and new ground is being covered. After that, we are going to have each in the same order as beginning. We are going to have everybody have up to 5 minutes to close their final thoughts, final points, and put a punctuation mark on it. After that, and during that time, any questions that the audience wants submitted, they will actually be able to submit them in chat, and the best 3 questions will be thrown in there as well. Following that, we will have the poll running while the judges are giving out their responses or their opinions, and then we will have a winner. And once we're done with that, we're going to ask the judges not only to give us the team that wins, but also the individual on each team, or no, the overall MVP. I don't want one from each team. I just want one person that they think carried their team the best. Finally, after that, we are going to have an open forum where anybody who wants to pile in can pile in, as long as you have access to the Discord channel. For those of you who do not know, we do not let people just come in cold off the streets. You have to spend some time in the Discord channel before we can trust that you're not just a shitbag. So, that said, unless one of the people in here already or somebody I trust vouches for you. If somebody in here says, hey, that person is a friend of mine, I'll trust them.
If one of the people already in here is a shitbag, though.
You're a shitbag I like, so that's allowed. If you're a shitbag that I like, so.
The only exception to that rule is me, because I was able to just, because I'm the coolest. And
they
were
like,
right. He's a cool guy.
No, I was
shut up.
referring
You're
to
sitting on a
myself.
folding chair.
So, affirmative team first. Do you guys have a plan on your order? That is Lethe, Ancom, and Pocahontas.
Yeah. So
I'll be right back in
first.
1 minute for the coin toss.
I don't. We'll say Lethe, you cool going second?
Sure, unless Toka wants to go second, I can go last. Either way.
Alphabetical sounds good to me.
Cool.
All right. And then for the negative team, Lonzo, Gorpson, Game Boy, what is y'all's order?
Game Boy's first, then me, then Lonzo.
You.
All right, first, second. Beautiful. All right. Well, then in that case, if Chief, I'm going to make the arbitrary decision that affirmative is even and negative is odd. Go ahead and roll your die.
It was a 10, so even.
10, so that is even. So that means affirmative. Affirmative is going to go first and open this up. And Ancom is our first speaker. I got 3 minutes on the clock. Let me go ahead and get that fucking going. Are you ready? Let's go, people. 3 minutes, go.
You don't debate fascists, you punch them. I yield the remainder of my time to my questioner.
Okay, cheers. So that means that the first person on the other team is Game Boy. Game Boy, let me reset here with a 2-minute cross X.
Oh, no, I yielded the entirety of my time. So what was left on my clock and the 2 minutes he can use to question me.
So he's got 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll accept 5 minutes.
You got 5 minutes to drill me.
That's hot. All right, Game Boy, you actually have a 5-minute cross-examination time. Are you ready, Cross X?
Okay.
Then go.
What makes violence okay?
I mean, violence is always okay if it's justified.
What makes it justified?
Whether or not you are doing it without reason. So if someone is hurting someone else and I see that, I am justified stepping in and doing violence to the person initiating that harm.
What if they're justified in hurting that other person?
Then I would not be justified in my response. It depends on the justification.
So then what makes punching a fascist justified?
Because they are inherently violent toward the marginalized people in society. Their ideology is inherently violent by its very existence.
And what makes your insurrectionary or revolutionary ideology less violent? Is it based off of your view?
I'm not actually looking to kill anyone. I'm not looking to kill anyone. I'm not looking to harm anyone. The only harm that I seek in my ideology is that of self-defense.
Yeah, but when a fascist make the same claim, you're just saying that they're incorrect in those actions. You have to prove that they're incorrect, don't you?
I mean, they can, or like that lack of justification is self-evident within their ideology.
Yeah, but anyone can say the same about your ideology.
They can try, but I mean, I can rebut them in a way that fascists simply can't.
You need to try to prove that fascism is inherently incoherent or unjustified before you make violent acts towards them. And all you've said is, I'm free to punch a Nazi. How are they unjustified with the actions that they're taking?
Okay, let's look at what fascists have done in the world. Nazis killed 6 million Jews. Fascist Italy assisted in that process. Spain.
You can have, and many people have made the claim towards Israel being a fascist state, who aren't inherently against Jews. You're using historical and empirical data rather than the ideology and the ideas themselves. Can you prove how the ideas have led to those results rather than the past in which those ideas have been done? I mean, look at liberalism has done the same, but there's plenty of liberals here who are saying that their ideology is not inherently violent. I would say the same about myself. Can you prove the ideas are violent?
I mean, the ideas are based around things like ethno-nationalism and creating an enemy which is both strong and weak, um, establishing control for the sake of a particular subgroup at the cost of all other subgroups. Like, you can look at the basic ideas and immediately tell they are inherently violent in a very unjust way.
Many fascists today in America say that they don't want to get rid of the current ethnic groups that they have in this country, but rather stop the flow of ethnic groups, like many people have said of Donald Trump. Can you say that those are fascists, yet say that violence is inherently a part of fascism?
Well, you mentioned not wanting to get rid of the existing ethnic groups in the same breath as Donald Trump, who is actively working to get rid of multiple ethnic groups. So
Yeah,
your
but he's
question is based
stopping.
on a false premise.
Okay, well, bad example, but to say, and I'm going to try to back up it though. Don, Donald Trump is trying to actively slow down illegal immigration, trying to disincentivize it, and that may not be inherently violent, but may be coercive. Are you
I
saying
mean,
that violence and coercive are the same though?
coercion is a form of violence, but you also have to look at the fact that in addition to his attempt to slow down illegal immigration, he is having ICE snatch people off the street almost randomly based on little else but their skin color, their ethnic appearance, and then determining whether or not they are legally here after the fact. Like they're literally unjustified arrests on the daily. If you're gonna tell me that's not violence, then I don't know where we go from here because that's a ridiculous assertion.
That's fair, but I want to get back to my point. Can you say that the idea themselves of, hey, if I want to stop immigration completely from my country, keep the ethnic groups that are in my country, and just expand the state, is there inherently a belief from that is different from any other ideology like communism or anarchy, which are inherently against the social order we have now?
Real quick, that's time. I'm going to
Sorry.
go ahead and give you 10 seconds to answer that question, Ancom. Go ahead.
Your description by itself does not qualify as fascism, therefore doesn't count under this debate.
All right,
That's
cool.
fair.
So now we're going to go ahead and go back to the 3-minute timer there. And it is now Game Boy's 3 minutes uninterrupted. Are you ready to go? 3 minutes
Yes.
start.
My issue with the debate prompt is not more, is it okay to debate fascists, but is it okay to platform any people we disagree with? Because I feel like once we get at what Ancom was saying, we realize that it can automatically uh, go into whatever is not the status quo. It Whatever you are saying is okay to hit fascists, it's because you're opposed to fascism. And I can say the same thing about any other group that I'm opposed to because I could say them inherently against what I view as nonviolent or good for society. If I think a communist order is going to lead to just poverty, I can make the argument that I'm saving those people who would starve out by just not platforming or debating these people. And it deteriorates inevitably into any ideology that I disagree with because uh you don't have a strong anything against why it's not okay that freedom of speech itself is just not a good principle, because you just throw out that and you throw out any reason why we should platform anyone. To that point, you're not convincing anyone's minds by saying we aren't going to platform you. You're creating an enemy out of yourself and your ideas to these groups. You're not, most people, even if it's a status quo and moderate idea, view it from their worldview, and this applies to extremist beliefs. They are looking at it from the perspective of, here's what I value. Say it's a family, here, say it's a country, say it's this, say it's that. And fascism solves it, or fascism convinced me of it. If you're not engaging with the people who share their audience's worldview, you can't properly give alternatives. And so, even though it may be bad, you still need to maintain control over a conversation, which is best done during a debate where you can show dominance over an opponent and you are inherently addressing a broader worldview that if fascism is as widespread as it has been historically, can be prevalent. I may have some leanings towards like, oh, I really like family values, but I was not brought up in like some widespread fascist phenomenon or movement. So I didn't go to the links that some Nazi did. I am just addressing what I value in my own ways. So if we debate a fascist, we can prove how their ideas are incoherent, but we can also say an alternative. I think this is done great and with in the past with Richard Spencer or Nick Fuentes even back in 2019. It's just how we can address these problems.
All right, good stuff. Game Boy, thank you very much. It is now going to go over to second person on the affirmative, Lethe. Lethe, you've got 2 minutes on the clock for cross-examination.
I just want to... Oh, wait, never mind.
All right. No worries. Lethe, are you ready to go then?
Yeah.
All right.
So you're saying that if you weren't brought up in a fascist ideology, you wouldn't be able to
If I
recognize the
was.
fascism around you?
No, I'd be able to address it, but I wouldn't address the alternatives. If I think liberalism is inherently evil but never engaged with a liberal, how am I supposed to say, oh, well, that's a fair or good belief? All I would hear is the fascist propaganda like atomization or bad social order destroys the family. Like, I wouldn't engage with it at all.
You wouldn't engage with liberalism at all? So with that
If
being
I
the
was
case,
if I was
couldn't you look
born
to
in
other
Nazi Germany,
countries?
yeah, but if you were in a fascist country, that was just an example, but if you were in Nazi Germany, you would never engage with alternatives to that belief because you were propagandized. You never engage with it, and you would likely not be able to leave and change your worldview and still come to Nazi Germany.
And that's exactly the problem. See, it goes the other way around. Once the fascists get in, they don't want you debating with anybody else. You get state run media, you get all your information fed to you by the leadership. So
But can
this
you
is
prove that
exactly what
debating?
perpetuates it.
But can you prove that debating a fascist leads to fascism? You're making the assumption that your ideas aren't strong enough to uh, provide an alternative to fascism. You're assuming that once you debate a fascist, you can't stop a fascist from getting into power, which is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I would never even begin to say that. It just makes more fascist or it bolsters fascism. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to become a fascist country.
Does
We
it
want as
make more
few fascists as
fascists?
possible.
Does it
Yeah,
make more
if
fascists?
you allow for more liberals to be debated with and have their views heard within a fascist country,
That's
you are going
time.
to get more liberals.
All right, Lethe, you are now going to go ahead and that was your 2 minute cross-examine. Now is going to be all you, Lethe, for 3 minutes. Go ahead when you're ready.
And so that's exactly where I was going to go with it. So, like, are we getting to the definition of fascism? And so this one I think is pretty decent. A governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism, not always racism, but often racism. So when you have that in play, to bolster certain people, like especially Nick Fuentes, who was mentioned earlier, some of these people are able to mask those beliefs in words that are going to speak to the cognitive biases within certain people. And that's going to bolster bad actors along the way. This is why we end up having right wing violence in certain areas. This is why people try to attack pizza parlors. This is why people do these crazy things pretty often without any sort of reason or rationalization. It's because they've been fed a line and they're not questioning it because it's feeding into what they already wanted to believe to begin with. And that's my time.
All right. And then we're going to go ahead. That was Lethe. So we're going to go to Gorps for 2 minutes to cross-examine Lethe. Gorps, are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead.
Leafy, it sounds like you basically you gave a definition of fascism, and then you said why people turn to fascism. You didn't even really address the debating of fascism. You didn't address the fact that, for example, I don't think that a dumbass should debate fascism, but Do you think that if someone is smart and very educated, they can prove a fascist retarded? Do you think that that's possible?
It's possible, but it wouldn't matter
It would matter. Why would it not matter?
because they don't care about facts. They care about somebody that's saying the things that they want to hear and believe inherently.
The talking head doesn't care about facts. People far in it already. Maybe they don't care about facts. Why? They don't matter. They're not the point of any debate. They're not the point of us all debating. It's the people on the edge. Make someone look retarded. Why would the person on the edge go with the retarded side?
You can make them look retarded, but they won't think they're retarded. They'll still think they won the debate
Why? The person on the
because
edge.
that's
I'm
what
not talking about the fascist. I'm not talking about the person that already believes that ideology. The person on the edge.
the person on the edge was already saying, "Oh wow, this person's saying things that I've been thinking this
Why would
entire
they say no?
time."
No, they're on the edge. You, if you're if you're like a good debater against the fascist, that is for you. You're the one that is saying, oh well, like of course that's true. Yes, yes, yes. And the fascist sounds fucking retarded.
So in the
That
example of like the Mehdi Hassan debate,
I didn't
people
watch it.
already
To be
didn't
fair.
like Mehdi. So I'm just giving you like the finer point. People already didn't like Mehdi, and when he said what he said about the fascist individual, it made him look bad to the people that would have agreed with this fascist or could have even begun to think that, hey, maybe this person's onto something.
He's not a good debater. That's it then. If he can't win
People
them
are
over,
saying he
he's
is a
not a
good
good debater.
debater.
I'm saying I don't care what people say. I'm talking to you. I'm not talking about random fucking people out there. If there is a good debater, largely going to be an academic debater that can speak normally,
That's time.
can they not make a fascist look retarded, and thus somebody on the line would say, well, that fascist looks retarded.
Okay, you know what? I'll give you 10 seconds to answer that, Lethe, because he did actually form their question at the end.
Yes, it could, and it could still backfire because people are going to lie and they're going to massage the information to bolster that lie to people that are willing to listen to it.
All right, there you go. Now, Gorps, it is your 3-minute opening. Are you ready for that?
Yes.
Good. Go.
Okay. I think that whilst some people seemingly on this panel disagree with this, I think that there are people that exist that have fucking common sense. I think that fascism is bad and retarded. I think that you can make them look even more retarded than the actual ideology so easily. Not everybody can do it, but you can do it so easily. So if you have the ability to debate, you should debate them, and you're not legitimizing them, you're making them look retarded. Furthermore, we also have to talk about the fact that I think many people on this panel, many people in the audience would say that the current government of the United States is fascist. Debating them does not give them any more legitimacy than the goddamn presidency. There is no more legitimacy to be had at that point. At that point, you have to debate them. You have to make them look stupid. You have to make their ideas look stupid. That is the only thing that you can do. You're not giving them more legitimacy. You are simply debating what is the current governance to many people. Also, if you don't debate them, you're legitimizing them. They then can run with, oh, these people are all scared to debate me. They're scared to even address my ideas. Therefore, my ideas must be so strong and so correct that they cannot be disproven. You have to debate them to prove that they're retarded. That's it.
Okay. And now we're going to go back to team one closing. That is going to be Toka. Toka, you now have 2 minutes on the clock to cross-examine and question Gorps. Are you ready for that? Go ahead.
Okay, yes. So my first question is, wouldn't you say, like, say someone, a stupid person that thinks they're smart, right? Like, would you even bother wasting your time addressing like someone like that? Like, like I feel like you're the type of person, Gorps, where you wouldn't waste your time on someone who's not willing to learn or change or
No, I would.
consider any
In a
other
debate,
idea.
I would. Because it's not about that person, it's about the audience.
The audience. So, because I'm thinking more of a one-on-one conversation with someone.
That doesn't matter. The debate's never going to change a one-on-one conversation. You can see this all over Twitchful. It's never going to change the one-on-one, like each other's dynamics. It's going to change the audience. That's what a debate is actually for.
I would say though that it's more of like it legit. I think that debating them legitimizes the argument. It more makes it seem like it's worth addressing. Wouldn't you say? Like maybe.
I think it's worth addressing when it's reaching the government. Not like that. It's about the fact that it's in the government. It's fucking there. The
What if it's
legitimacy
something
is
like
there.
common sense, like freedom of speech, right? Or controlling women's bodies, or like how Leafy
Legitimacy,
addressed racism.
legitimacy is in government. You're not giving it more by debating it. You're trying to make it sound retarded so that people recognize that it's retarded. You're not giving it any
What
more by
wouldn't they
talking.
already recognize that it's retarded if it's something that's common sense? You know what I mean? Something that doesn't need to be debated
No,
because we already
no,
accept
no.
as the truth.
People can recognize through a conversation happening that something is retarded that they thought was a given their whole life.
See, that's where I think we run into an issue because then you're opening the door for these things to be legitimized and taken into a further aspect outside of that debate.
Let me
Well, that's time, and that did not end on a question, so we're just going to go ahead and put it back up to 3 minutes. Toka, it is now your time for a 3-minute uninterrupted opening. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
So basically, I'll just summarize what I was going over with Gorps. Like, debating fascists makes their ideas seem worth addressing as though they have a debatable point, or like there is some major social disagreement when, under normal circumstances, it would be common sense, like freedom of speech. Debate would ultimately open the door for these freedoms to be taken away because it portrays and exacerbates division where none had previously existed, meaning like people would probably change their mind in things that they wouldn't normally, like how we have the law of like screaming fire in a movie theater for there's certain things that we still can't do in line with freedom of speech, which we've agreed upon, but it could become further than that, and that's what I mean by that. So that's my time. I won't
Oh,
take up any more time. I was already late.
all right. Cheers to that. Now we're going to go back to Lonzo
I
for
would have done that if I was you.
You are a 2-minute Lonzo cross-examination of Pocahontas. Are you ready, Lonzo?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Before I start this, I apologize. Okay, to be honest, you believe that debating a fascist would only give more credibility to their argument? Is that what your
Yes,
understanding
I
is?
think it would change people's minds where like towards their opinion because it would make them reconsider certain things as a debate
Uh-huh.
does.
Okay, so if you were to listen to a person debate a fascist, you would possibly change your mind in the direction of reactionary off of the debate
It
that they're
depends on the
making, or
topic.
towards the
I don't
or the
think so,
oppositional.
but it depends on the topic.
Okay, well then shouldn't you shift in a debate against a fascist if you know that the topic is what's important? Then why wouldn't you try and shift the discussion to a topic that's more in favor of fascist? Would you not do that in a debate?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
You're breaking
Would you
up a little
not
bit.
try and would you not try and direct the debate, the direction of the argument, the topic of the argument that is more towards the opposite of a reactionary opinion that a fascist would be able to carry the conversation in? Would you not do that if you know that that's what
Ideally.
gives them ground? So
Ideally,
why
that
wouldn't
would
you do
be
that to debate them? I mean, think about
Yeah,
it.
of
The people
course
that are
you
going to
would,
probably be
if
listening.
you're stuck with a gun against your head doing a debate, but like
But
if
I
I
don't
think it's
see.
more of something that it'll make people reconsider or like think that it's something that should be considered.
Okay, so your solution to this is to not debate them. These people who likely will end up in the fascist bubble, because the ones that end up there don't end up there in debates. They end up there through slowly being pulled in slowly by different forms of media, such as the first things that you get introduced to, little things like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. That's not central, but it kind of pulls you in a little bit because it's interesting. He's talking about and stuff like
Right, yeah,
that.
that's
And
what
then you
I'm
get
talking
other
about,
people that he listens to that get pull you further and further in. But you know what never happens along that way? You never hear about Nick Fuentes going to debate and all of a sudden people are like, you know what? He had some good points when he was talking to that man about how immigrants are bad for the country.
I don't know.
All
The way
right.
this country's been
So there was sort of a question there at the end. Do you feel like you need to answer any questions there, Toka?
I'll just say in response, like, I don't think that it's stopped people from taking Nick Fuentes' side. I think he has a platform. I think he has a following, and I think that's a problem.
All right, cool. So, Lonzo, it is now going to be your 3-minute opening. This is going to be the last of the openings. Are you ready to go? Just so you know, I don't know if it's your noise gate or something like that, but your mic does keep kind of clipping some of your words.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just boost your mic gain a little bit.
Yeah,
You should be
How do
okay.
I
I
do
think
that?
Discord
How do I
might be
do that?
cutting it off.
do I
Either
do
in
that?
your recording settings or some of the mics have like a dial on it itself for a gain
Just
to
Do you
turn
use
it up.
OBS?
Just
Just
scream.
just
Is that better?
kiss the mic. Just kiss the mic. Just be close to
All
it.
right, I'm just gonna hear like right up on. Does this work?
No.
A little too much.
Don't do that.
Split the difference.
All right.
All right, you ready? Do your best. We'll try to piece it together. Just know that we might have to ask you to repeat words. So, all right, you ready to go
Okay.
then? Time to go.
Yes. Okay, so my reason I believe that you should debate fascists, because if you are debating a fascist, what is the belief that they are going to somehow turn people in their direction? If you are against the fascists, the first thing that you should understand is that their ideology is founded in nothing. It means actually nothing to anybody who thinks of it any further. The thing that brings people to think about it a little bit further is debating. They're terrible on debating. Have you ever listened to a fascist debate? Let's go back to things like Counterpoint or whatever, the thing that Tucker Carlson was on in the past, where they basically go back and debate between a liberal and a fascist. The only grounds in which a fascist can even slightly be taken serious in a debate, such as what he was doing then, is against a liberal, because they're not that far away from fascism. The people who I would assume most here are leftists should be obviously wanting to debate fascists. Let's look back in time real quick. Nazi Germany. How did the Nazis get into such a prominent power and position? Now you're going to say that obviously the government, but here's the first thing here is that how did they ever get people to listen to them in the first place? Because the people who were supposed to be combating them and pushing things that were supposed to make people feel as if they were not a valid thing to turn to, like currently right now, is the oppositional party. The oppositional party is not liberals, which was the Weimar Republic, but the oppositional party is a far left party. The people who always decide not to debate fascists instead will always be debating the leftists, such as how the Weimar Republic tried to remove and deal with the communists. However, they ignore the fascists to the other side and allow them to. The argument should be, why is it that we're not debating the fascists, and not should we debate the fascists? Because historically, we have not debated the fascists, and it has not turned out well ever. There is a lack of comprehension on what debating should do. It is not to make the person you're debating seem logical or look for logical. You're saying it's not. You're not doing that. Especially with or even a right person, conservative, it doesn't make any sense. What should be is to make the people who are listening to the debate understand that the person you are arguing against makes no sense, because that's why you're debating them. You want to tear apart their arguments, right? Well, it should be easy to do that. You already know the issues and what their opinions are. If you didn't think there were so many gaps in it, you wouldn't have a problem with debating them in the first place, because you would say, well, it's logical, so let me go and debate them. But you know it's illogical, so you should know how to tear apart their arguments. As we said earlier, the topic is the issue. They like to pull the topic towards things that are very reactionary and easy to pull people towards their side. That's the point. Then you should steer the argument towards something that you can prove and show them why you're right. If you can't do that and you don't understand that, then you gave up already, and they already won. That's what you want. That's what they want you to do. That's how we got to where we're at right now in the US, because nobody has been debating the fascists. They've just been letting them grow. And that's it for me.
All right, good. And brought it home there right on the buzzer. So that leaves us with a final 2 minutes for Ancom. Ancom, it was you who went first, right? Yeah. Ancom has 2 minutes now to cross-X Alonzo. Are you ready, Ancom?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So a couple of your claims were that fascist ideology is founded in nothing and that fascists are bad debaters. The problem with these assertions is that A, fascists have no problem lying. They have no problem manipulating statistics or just bald-faced lying to convince the audience. So the more exposure that you give them to an audience, the more likely they are, with their various dishonest and rhetorical tactics, to drum up support no matter how good the opposition is. When eventually you get to a point where even Mehdi Hassan won't debate fascists, I think maybe you've reached a point where, like, that man is an excellent debater. Even he won't do it because he knows they're dishonest.
Okay, now, first off, you said it as if we got to that point. We started at that point. That's how we got to the point we're at. Also, the idea that it's because of how bad they are at, I mean, is absurd because in the
Yeah, by the way,
that
you're
we can show
cutting
to
out
the
again.
Jesus Christ, that we can show to the public. If you wanted to prove something that they're saying is a lie, very simply, such as what happened with Tucker Carlson not too long ago, where he said there are 60 million illegals in the country, all you got to do is say, wait, look at this. There's 10 million illegals in the country. That's a pretty easy thing to catch somebody on.
Yeah,
It's
but
easy
then
to get
you have to
doctors on these people. No,
but
it's
you have
not.
to be prepared to counter every single lie they're going to come up with. These people spend time. Like, you look at the likes of Trump,
Don't-
Crowder, Kirk, Shapiro, all of these people who spend time crafting their lies to sound just plausible enough, and it takes a shit ton of time and energy to refute them.
Actually, it really doesn't, because even though you think you have to do every lie they make up, no, you just have to make them look stupid every time you get the chance. And there are people who listen to them. For the most people that are in the middle are going to go, oh yeah, he's fucking stupid.
All right, and that's time. So, all right, now that actually is going to conclude our timed section, the open and cross portion of this conversation. I'm currently waiting for both of the judges if they have any questions. Okay, we got at least some coming in from our judges. Is there any evidence that we haven't been debating fascists? The Nazi Party was, as a party, allowed in government to debate. So now we're actually going to leave that as actually an opening prompt, because that's more or less than a question, and I think that that's a good question to lead us into the open portion of this conversation. I'm looking to the other judge right now to finish typing, but real quick, before we do go into the open session, there is something that I want to bring up. I just want to reiterate the prompt, which is: debating fascists helps legitimize their ideologies. You are, of course, welcome to get into the reads anywhere you want. However, that is the ultimate prompt that we should be bearing in mind. Okay, so real quick, I have got a question to the to each side from one of the judges, and so I will let the three of y'all answer amongst yourselves. So I do not want to hear from the negative side right now. Question to the affirmative side from one of the judges: if fascists will lie to an audience, why is it better for those ideas to get passed along unchecked rather than debated? So I will ask that a question again to AF. You guys can, like I said, talk together. It's not, you don't have to take turns. We're just going to let y'all answer as you see fit. If fascists will lie to an audience, why is it better for those ideas to get passed along unchecked rather than be debated?
Because the people who would listen to them, sans you providing them an additional audience, already agree with them. And so if you don't give them your audience, then that inherently limits the number of people they can affect with their lies. And you can, of course, after the fact, go back and look at what they said to their audience and reinforce the fact that it is nonsense to your audience. The whole point here is to deprive them or limit the scope of their reach in the first place. Whether or not you are capable of actually, making them or tearing down their arguments, which I would argue a lot of people simply aren't, not for lack of trying, but because they don't have the time and effort spent on rhetorical trickery that most fascist debaters have. So, they know how to make people look stupid on a stage. Don't give them the chance.
All right. And Toka and Lethe, do you have anything to add to that?
I, for the most part, agree with Ancom. So allowing for them to get a broader platform is never going to be a better answer. Do you think giving Hitler the ability to go on X would have made him less effective and made his ideas seem less legitimate to the rest of the masses? No, somebody's saying something and they're going to say, well, that sounds right or that feels right. They're not really going to care whether or not the facts aren't in the favor of that. Just like with the whole how many illegals are in the country, people are going to say, well, that doesn't feel right. Like, from my anecdotal standpoint, there's illegals all around me. So apparently this person that's debating using so-called facts, probably given by the lying media, is trying to obfuscate the truth that this person is bringing us. People can rationalize things in their head any way they want to. Not giving that person the platform in the first place is the best way to combat it.
Toka, did you have anything you wanted to add? I could put another
No,
minute
I
on.
definitely agree with everyone here. I mean, like I said before, it just makes it seem like they have a point that's worth debating or worth addressing. So yeah, I'm totally in sync with my group here.
All right, cool. We're gonna do that actually again because I did like doing the timer after all. Sorry, we're still this is a new facet. We're trying new shit every time. So that said, we're gonna go back to the negative side now, and the question for the negative side: what alternative to fascism would you propose in a debate that would appeal to the same audience that fascist is capturing with his rhetoric? So let me see if I can read that one more time. What alternative to fascism would you propose in a debate that would appeal to the same audience that fascists is capturing with his rhetoric? Do you understand the question?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Then negative, go ahead. I'm going to start, give you all 3 minutes. Same thing. Just answer as you feel.
Same
I think
order.
this could be any element of ideology. Not every fucking racist is a fascist. Not every sexist is a fascist. Not every transphobe, Islamophobe, anything is a fascist. I think that a lot of those are prerequisites. I think that pretty much every fascist is one of those, but not every single one is. You're appealing to those audiences. You're also ultimately appealing to an audience of libs. An audience of libs that, as what's your name? Lonzo? Talked about earlier, aren't that fucking far away from the ideology in and of itself. These are the people that you need to make sure don't switch over. You're appealing to all of these subgroups that, sure, fascists have these characteristics, but these characteristics do not inherently mean fascist. It's a rectangle, not a square.
Game Boy and Lonzo, what do y'all have to say? Anything to throw in?
Go first. Let me go.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay. I say that appealing to people with reactionary thought is simply not a complex thing to do. If you tell them to react negatively to the elites, as they already in most part do, if you look at the way they responded to the Epstein list, if you look at the way they responded to what was it? There was another thing Trump did that was involved with that. But anyways, the farmers having the big like farm stuff like that, have legal workers and they're trying to skip out having to pay them well. So people like that, like these people care a lot more. The biggest issue to them is really the economy. I mean, they don't have money, not literal the overall economy because they don't understand it, but the actual money that goes to their pockets. If you show them reactionary thought that makes them believe that it will help them in that direction, I don't know. You don't even have to go into much complexity on it. Just simply that they will change their opinions. It's not that hard.
All right, Game Boy,
Uh,
thoughts?
My belief, any belief I see is right. I feel like just because it's not belief that will appeal to them doesn't mean that serving as an alternative or placeholder to an opposition isn't just as important. If you can flesh out your beliefs outside of just wreck the libs, it's going to be better. Like any alternative to Gorp is very important in society because we serve to beat the stereotype that the fascists are trying to demonstrate.
We're on the same
Be-
fucking team, bro.
um, I think I think it happens over time. A fascist will change its opinion, and even many fascist leaders. I think we kind of threw out the possibility that they may change their mind and take their audience with them, or at least a portion of their audience. The leader of the alt right literally changed his mind and now voted for Biden. For goodness sake, it's possible that you just serving as opposition is useful.
All right, so good stuff. Now we actually, and this is we only have one question from the other judge, although there is another request that we're gonna change the format just a little bit at the end, but it'll be a surprise for y'all. But a question for the AF from one of the judges, and I'm gonna put the same 3 minutes on the clock. If other ideologies would refuse to debate when in control, should they also not be allowed into the debate? I will ask that again. If other ideologies would refuse debate when in control, should they also not be allowed in debate? Once again,
I would tend to say yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would tend to say yes if when you're in control, you are not willing to give the transparency and and openness of why your regime is doing what it's doing, then I think that is disqualifying from power. So, yeah.
Okay. And once again, there, Lethe and Toka. Anything to add
Yeah,
to
I'm a
that?
give what you get kind of person, you know? Like, but I do see where it could be like contradictory to what we stand for, that we wouldn't allow them to debate. But it's not even that we're not allowing them to debate, it's more like that we don't see it as a debatable topic. Like, it's not something that, like, it's something that's already been debated, it's already, you know, said and done, and we have our ways about it, type of thing.
Yeah,
And
the
we
whole
don't want
point
to,
is
you know.
not to silence or censor them, it's to not engage with them. That's the main difference. Like, I'm
Yes.
fine with flat earthers or climate change deniers or creationists to have the stage and say whatever the hell they want, but I have no interest in debating any of them, the same as I have no interest in debating a fascist. Their ideas are patently ridiculous, and me giving any space to them to share those ideas is inherently, supporting them in some way, shape, or form. Even if I'm directly opposing them in that, it doesn't matter. They still have a new platform to get their ideas, or more often their friendlier lies, out there, because they will Mott and Bailey the shit out of any debate you put them in. They will use whatever opportunities they have to sway people in, fairly deceptive ways to their cause.
Lethe, any thoughts to add?
Yeah. That was basically where I was at with it. First, you have to ask, why is that ideology not being allowed to debate? Because if it's a specifically harmful ideology, you don't want to allow for harm, or for people like what's going on with vaccines right now. Like, more and more people are getting illnesses because we're allowing certain people to be platformed that are making people question the validity of already standardized science. Like, this is all provable stuff. You can slap them with all the information you want, and people are going to die because of this. So not platforming them and legitimizing those ideas is probably in the best interest of society.
Okay, there you go. Good answers, everybody. All right, so we're now going to go into the open platform part. Feel free to talk across each other, talk over each other. Be polite if you want, be a dick if you want. The next 30 minutes is just free game. So I'm going to reiterate the prompt for the final time. Debating fascists helps legitimize their ideologies. 30 minutes on the clock and go.
Can I
I
start?
believe Game Boy is right, and that we don't want more gorps out here. So we definitely need to stop platforming certain ideologies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We
What
need to
the
support
fuck?
this neg on neg violence, because us up here with the AF unity support that internal violence.
Okay, can I make an
So,
actual point?
It's
Can I make an
not
actual
in
point?
point. I was gonna go, but yeah, Gorp.
In 2017, about 25% of Democrats and about 30% of Republicans said they favored a military intervention if the country faced rampant crime or corruption. Given that, all right, you're basically at the fucking door of fascism. Debating one of them is not going to legitimize it. They're in government, they're in our society. You need to debate them and make them look retarded, or else they will take control of our society. Thank you very much.
Funniest,
Respond.
Not
funniest thing.
if you fight back against that control. Once they're in government, the time for debate was over 2 weeks beforehand. Like, at
So,
this point, when they're already in control, debate does nothing. You have to actively fight back against that shit, because that is the only, like, if
Yeah,
if all you're
Bring
doing
out
is
there's
using
only
words while they're
only
no,
using
no,
guns, you're
bring
gonna
out
get
the
shot
fucking
real quick.
black bloc at the
listen,
same time. But Jesus Christ, debate them. Make them look
wait,
stupid.
hold up, wait. I gotta say, so wait. Your point is that you don't want to platform them. You don't want to give them a platform ideology. But once they're in government and their ideology is across the whole country, it's already past time to debate them. Don't debate them now. They already got a platform. But when the fuck should you debate them then? From
No,
before
Never.
they get the platform,
That's the
after they get the
whole
Before they-
platform?
point.
You
We
just
tried
said 2 weeks
never.
ago, though. You
We
just
tried
said that.
never.
But didn't you say earlier that you shouldn't debate groups who won't debate people? Yet you're saying I won't debate people. Aren't you finding the paradox here?
There's only one group that I refuse to debate. I'll go with anybody else.
No,
Still,
that's
One
not true.
group?
That's not
expose
true.
someone
You
without
said
debating them.
you said that any group in power that refused debate, you thought was the problem. It's not just
I mean, if they're in
fascist.
power and they're
The
refusing to
Soviet
debate,
Union. The Soviet
yeah.
Union.
Yeah,
Would you debate
I
them?
find
Would
the
you call them
Soviet
fascist?
Union problematic as well. Like
Would you call
the
them
way
But
fascist?
you said one group.
no, they were state capital. Actually,
Weren't they communist?
no,
It doesn't matter what they were. They weren't fucking fascists. But
That's
They
your
weren't
point.
at
No.
any point.
by your own
At any
logic, you
point?
would not
I mean
debate them.
they
So
were
of course you
hyper authoritarian. They just didn't meet some
So
of the specific
authoritarians. You said one group. Authoritarians is an umbrella statement. You have to accept that you're more than willing to debate just a certain level of people, and you need to figure out where you need to draw the line. You've yet to draw the line on where you're not going to debate and who you're going to debate. Are you going to debate
Fair enough.
liberals?
I will admit my line was hastily drawn. I will stick it at hyper authoritarians, under which fascists do count.
What is a hyper-authoritarian? That's a buzzword.
I mean, I feel like it's fairly obvious from the
Is there a lighter
definitions of the
authoritarian?
word.
What
What?
makes it hyper versus normal authoritarian?
Is it like we only kind of control the country entirety and we rule with iron fist, but you like, is it just like partially, like half glass, half empty, half full? What are
What's
we-
soft authoritarianism?
What are we looking at here? Like we'll throw you in half a gulag. Like what are we saying? Like are we?
I mean, I feel like once we're doing fucking concentration camps of one form or another, yeah, we're probably there.
That's a little bit more than authoritarian. That's more genocidal. You can do that without being authoritarian.
I don't think you can. I don't
It-
think you
it
can be
tends to help.
genocidal without authoritarianism.
Well, it's wait.
So then,
Here's
are you
real-
going to debate people who are genocidal but not authoritarian?
Well, that was a long pause. Anyways, what I was saying.
I mean, because I said
I wouldn't
you
for
have to
one.
be authoritarian to be genocidal. So if they're genocidal, then they're automatically authoritarian.
But are
I'm
they
not going to debate them
hyper-authoritarian?
because
I would say hyper if they're committing a genocide. Yeah, more than likely.
yeah, if they're committing a genocide, that's
I'm
pretty
just
fucking
curious,
hyper
where's the line?
authoritarian.
Like, is it authoritarian if they're committing a genocide and everybody supports it in the society? That wouldn't be hyper because they're just going.
I
fighting
mean,
over people, right?
I seriously doubt everyone in a society is supporting a genocide, specifically the people being fucking genocided.
Also,
Yeah, but those
how
people
does
don't count.
hyper
What if it's-
authoritarianism apply to something that does nothing with authoritarianism? Shouldn't hyper authoritarianism be about how authoritarian they are, and not about what they're doing? Like that doesn't make sense.
That's
I'm just saying.
I mean,
exposing
no,
them. That's
no,
not
no,
you
you-
don't have to debate them. You can just expose them at that point.
Yeah,
There it is.
the hyper authoritarian
Debating
thing.
exposes people.
Not
Gives them
necessarily.
exposure. It absolutely gives them
Not
exposure.
necessarily,
Yeah.
but it is of some form of
I-
outlining their flaws within a competitive format and undermining them. And you're saying that that is not a useful tool because it platforms them. Part of why it's a useful tool is platforming them and showing their flaws. If it is a threat, like Gorp is saying, then it doesn't matter if you're platforming them or not because they're an imminent threat. Why are you denying the fact that you can debate them to undermine them?
Why are you denying that the whole reason Hitler took power was because he was given a platform and given that debate stage and was able to get that following
He
from
wasn't
what
given
he
a
was
debate
Hold on,
stage.
hold
He
on,
was
hold on.
given a position of power.
Hitler rose to power in the fucking
given a stage.
1930s. Hold on. We
Stop
live in
doing
a
that
day
with
and
your
age
arm, Gorp.
where no, fuck you. Where
What's the issue
X
with it?
exists, where fucking Instagram, Facebook, all
Ad
of these
hom.
platforms exist. These people all already have a platform.
Yes,
people
and the
that you
fact
would-
that
i-
in
if you
2016,
wait. If you were even willing to engage with somebody in a debate that may be a fascist, right? They would likely already have some level of a fucking platform. The platform already exists. What
yeah,
can
but
be
you don't think the fact that in 2016 the news media gave Trump more free coverage than any other candidate, not just in
But they
that
didn't
race,
debate him.
but in recent history, had something to do with the fact that he got
Did
a
the
shit
news
ton of
media
airtime?
debate him?
Or what?
Did the
They didn't
news media
debate him.
debate him? The only people
Not
that debated
directly,
him
but they
were
definitely gave him
dumbass fucking
exposure.
Democrats.
That's
The same thing happened
platforming.
in 2020. The same thing happened.
No,
in
no, it wasn't
2025.
just
It was
Democrats.
bad
It was
debating.
no, it was not just
That was
They
the
would
Democrats.
only
definitely
thing.
do
There
it
was
when
a shit
nationals
like
debating him
it
and
was
were murdered.
it was all across the political ideological spectrum. The media just kept covering him, every little thing he said, even in like
That
that
is
they
not
were calling
That's not
it
what we're talking
ridiculous.
about. That's news. That's not debate.
Well, But the whole point is exposure.
You're against
Debate provides
platforming, but
additional
You don't want it platformed. We're not
Real
talking about
question.
news platforming him. We're talking about
let
debating like
Kai
an
The
active
speak
real
first.
question
I mean,
should
are
be is
these
if the
not related
liberals
things?
should be
No, they're
debating
not.
fascists, not not if we should debate fascists. Of course, they're really good at platforming fascists. You're right. They're really good at making them look good. That's why the Democrats keep going. Look at how different Trump is. Look at how special Trump is. Look at how different he is from the rest of. And people went, oh, he's different from the rest of our politicians. We should side with him. It's not a sign of them being bad to debate. It's a sign of the liberal or the Democratic Party being good at giving them this position. It's literally happened already multiple times in history. Why are we pretending that it didn't?
So, Lonzo, are
So
you
what
saying
we're
that
saying-
there's not a lie counter up for Trump showing how many lies he said since he started running in the first place? Are you saying they're not exposing
a debate.
as he's had debates? It ends up exactly like what you're
Yeah.
talking about, Gorps.
Wait,
a bunch of
I
people
think
see
all
Trump.
three of us have said that if you're retarded, don't debate a fascist.
We've
I
all
don't
you
said
think
need
that
an
in this
adequate,
party
being
now.
retarded.
person to debate them. Every fucking, for example, Democratic candidate that has debated Trump has been retarded. Come on.
I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
So what
and
I'm saying
I mean-
is Biden, I think, was much more rhetorically accurate than Trump was. But at the end of the day, nobody cared about the facts. They cared about who was funnier. And this is exactly the problem with what you're putting forward. Just like the reason why most people know who Nick Fuentes is because this a-hole Destiny brought Nick Fuentes onto his platform.
It's not
Now
the
all of a sudden, a
reason
bunch of people
know him right
know
now.
who he is.
He's the worst
That
example
is
you could
one of the
use.
huge reasons.
That is the worst example, to be fair.
Wait,
I've
okay, I have a
never
question. Do you
even
think
watched
that
Nick Fuentes, but I've heard his name so much, especially on this platform, which is
Hey, Chicago
crazy.
boy.
That it's like
But
I
the
should I
reason he was
basically know it.
So you
popular
bring him on for the
before
lulz. All of a sudden, he's humanized
Hey.
to people, and people think, "Oh, well, this guy's kind of funny and he says some edgy things, but I don't think he's all that dangerous." Then all of a sudden, they're fucking radicalized.
I got a question. How many of y'all believe that if Bernie Sanders was the actual candidate for the Democratic Party in 2016, that he would have lost to Trump?
I have no idea.
I mean,
Possible, but I don't know.
that is a
I'm sorry, if
pointless
Joe Biden
hypothetical.
Okay, I got another
2016
question. I got another
ran,
question.
No,
Do
it
you
would have
think-
been. They were
do you
there was
think
such
Zoran-
tunnel vision.
Do you
Sorry,
think
go ahead.
Zoran, if it was a case against Zoran, who's not even, keep in mind, from the country, so he can't run as president, but let's just say that was thrown out of the window and he was able to run against him. Do you think he would have lost in 2016 or in 2024?
No, I think
I
Zoran
have
had
no
changed.
idea.
But he would have been
Here's
way
my
too
point.
young, I think, in 2016.
Liberals
what is your
are
point?
terrible at debating fascists. That's my point. Neither of these people were less popular than him in whatever area they were being counted by their popularity. They would
So in
have
your
easily
opinion-
beaten Trump.
In your opinion, who
What?
has been the most effective at debating a fascist?
The most effective at debating a fascist?
I think
Yes.
Destiny
The
was
opposite side of the
effective.
spectrum.
I think
Anybody.
Destiny made Nick Fuentes after he got on.
Yet no
Destiny,
examples, just everybody.
Lost.
Everybody that's left of them.
Nick
Didn't
Fuentes
What were you saying, Game Boy?
lost followers whenever he was in a debate with Destiny and lost. I think that does
Didn't
show.
they have a relationship?
Well, just because gay Nick gets in a relationship, I'm not homophobic.
You can't
But-
fault someone for their sexual desires.
Man.
Gorp, you're
No, I think that was a
to
I'm
my
only
point,
homophobic
though,
towards
Nick-
Nazis.
Let
Stop.
them fight.
Nick Fuentes
Can
is
you give
popular
an
right now because he is being platformed by Twitter and he has gained popularity through his struggle with whatever group he must say. He will say, oh, the Jews did this, the Jews did that, Jews did this, because he's being actively undermined. He's on a no-flight list. He's was arrested. He has all these plights that he can say, oh, my little violin. And it doesn't have to do with Destiny, because Destiny has nothing to do with how popular he is now. He's on Rumble with 3 times the membership, the followers he has
and that's
before
our
he dated.
point. He was given the
Oh,
platform
no,
and now he has
please-
followers.
Please let me continue my point. He has 3 times the followers on Rumble after the debate 6 years later than he did on Twitch before he was banned. Why is that if it was only because Destiny? Wouldn't that have been a phase that we could have lost 6 years later?
No, I'm going to say that he was able to gain connections through being on that stream with that individual. and that helped bolster his ability to actually set foot in the White House. If it wasn't for the people that are involved in those circles that he ended up gaining that ability to connect with, that never would have happened. And now he's probably
He
more
would have
popular
never
than he's
met
ever been.
Kanye through Destiny. I
No,
don't
but
see the
through
connection.
people like Lauren Southern, people like Milo Yiannopoulos, people like
He met
the people that
Milo
literally
stuff.
wrangled him.
He met Milo and Richard Spencer before the Destiny stream. He got the connection with Lauren Southern through Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't see how that's a connection to Destiny. You're saying you don't debate people, but the Destiny was your example, and it has not gotten him the connections which made him popular. If anything, it's undermined Nick, because it showed the statistics he was bringing up, the conspiracy he was bringing up for immigration was just totally flawed. And if you actually watch it, he was given allegations and given stereotypes that still follow him to this day, like being gay and being Mexican, which were brought up in the Destiny conversation multiple times.
Is
I
that an
mean,
allegation? That's an
I don't
he's-
know
allegation?
that they had even met before then. I can't even quantify that.
he met with Nick Fuentes 4 times, and Nick Fuentes lost viewership twice during 2 debates. I don't see how that's a correlation to how the harms of debate happen. He was said Destiny undermined him by saying you're 1/4 Mexican and you're half Italian, and you're saying that America, which is majority English, should be this. That was a good debate tactic that made many white supremacists themselves leave Nick Fuentes. The Groyper movement was hurt by the Destiny stream. Now, if you're saying that that is harmful or we shouldn't do this, we need to look at how the alt-right movement deteriorated. It deteriorated because it was no longer the spooky movement of this is against the liberals, this is against the mainstream, and it became a movement of just nut jobs because people actually started debating these idiots. I mean, Richard Spencer
All right,
was
let's
debated.
let's go ahead and assume for a moment that you are correct about the Destiny Nick Fuentes situation, in which he actually lost lost followers as a result. Is this is this part of a larger pattern where you can demonstrate that debating fascists ends up losing them following, or is it an outlier because all of the big fascist debates I'm thinking of, the ones that were televised across the country, namely those with Donald Trump, always seem to gain him support
Against who?
Well, you're using Donald
against
Trump.
against Clinton, against Biden, against Harris.
Against
Liberal.
shitty debaters.
Liberal. You just
I
named
mean,
3 liberals.
Destiny is
It's
also a
liberal.
liberal. He literally calls himself the
Yeah, and
omni-liberal
that's
on
my
Twitter.
point. And that's my point. Destiny also never made a point of any populist ideas that are towards the left. Again, a big thing that is also popular for people who voted for Trump that pulled them further left. Why do you think Zoran won a lot of that Trump won in New York? Just saying, those same populist ideas that they want from a right-wing extremist that's a fascist are also very much so they're popular with leftists. And then they also hear things like free healthcare, which majority of them want, which pulls them there.
So it sounds to me
Wait,
like
can I
you're
add
advocating for the Democratic Party to be taken over
Yes.
by more
Yes.
populists, which I would
Yes.
tend to agree with, but that's not how it is right now. Most people in the country, yeah, they might support individual populist ideas, but if you actually call yourself a populist or a socialist, that tends to give you a big hit with most of the American population. And so going into a debate with someone like Trump is probably going to end up losing you support overall.
Okay, hold
Is
on,
that
hold
what
on,
happened in New
hold on,
York?
hold on.
New York is not the rest of the
reason-
country.
The reason that in these big debates that we're talking about like the presidential debates effectively. The reason that they don't work, the reason that they have not shot down Trump's idea to the public is because it is capitulation. The Democrats have capitulated on every point and made the point seem like it was a valid point. The fucking crisis at the border is the perfect example of this. The Democrats made it seem like it was a valid point, made it seem like it was a valid thing for Trump and his whole fucking base to get all worked up about it. That was the problem. It was not the fact that they had the conversation. It was the fact that the Democrats capitulated to this bullshit and acted as if that was a valid framing of what was happening.
When did
Like
they
I said
ever?
earlier, you
When did
need
the
a
Democrats
decent
ever
debater.
point that was valid?
Kamala has fucking talked about the crisis at the border.
Biden himself.
Kamala fucking talked about this in her
I don't
presidential
think she
campaign.
ever called it a
No, no.
crisis.
Under Biden's administration was when they made being here expired technically. That was when that was done. It wasn't done under Trump. It's not supposed to be a crime, but they're the ones who made that law because it's a crisis of too many illegal immigrants. They were the ones who agreed upon this. So there would have been no pretext to what he said if
Yeah, I can't see
Nothing?
anything about this. No, I'm saying I'm looking into the whole border crisis thing with Kamala. I don't know
Kamala,
where
no,
this
it's
is being.
Biden. It's Biden, but Kamala just basically said, "I will be Biden 2.0." So just be prepared for that. So that's why they just put. She didn't have much time to run on an actual platform, so she said, "My platform is Biden,"
And I don't have a problem with that.
which is a really
That's
wobbly
perfectly fine.
platform to build yourself on. But I mean, hey,
I mean,
I'm
to
not
say
going to
that
say
everything
that.
people are fascists is kind of a stretch at this point, but I mean,
I mean, neither of the names mentioned were fascist, but the current administration is far more fascist in nature.
which brings
yeah.
it brings me another question. Why am I lagging? Well, what is your guys' solution to fascism? What would you do about fascism? Like
Let it die off.
Like if you were to, you'd let it die off. You
So do
wouldn't
nothing right
speed that
now.
process up.
Wait, right
Yeah.
now for the next 4 years, do nothing.
No, I like what Germany did.
You like what Germany did? They made it illegal.
I like what
Okay, but
Germany
they
did.
were the party that did that was in power. So remind me, how are you gonna do that?
We would have had to done it a long time ago, like especially right after the Civil War,
No,
to
I mean
not
right
allow
now.
for.
Yeah, we exist in this
Like
world
right
today.
now.
What do you want to
Yeah,
do
like
about
when
it?
like if let's say they just say we're gonna federalize the police in your state right now.
They did,
Yeah,
for the most
you're
part.
still cutting out there, Lonzo. Check your noise
He
gate
asked
in
what you guys would
Discord.
do.
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I
just
know
letting
I
him
know
know.
what I would do, and I can't
I
say
don't
it
know
on
what's
Twitch.
going on.
I mean,
I mean,
personally,
I'll
all we
say
can
it
do
on
is
Twitch.
speak out
I
against.
know I can say only so much on Twitch, and that's organized community defense and mutual aid. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's essentially what we do. We push back against the fascists and we show that we're not with what's going on, and we provide aid to the people that need the help that are being attacked by the fascist regime, hoping that people will see the crimes of the fascist regime and not be willing to allow for people to be brutalized in this way. But all you
So
can
you're
do is
relying on
weather it at
hope
that
rather
point.
than outreach.
Yeah, guys, please
You're
don't
saying,
let
I
them do
hope
this to
they
you.
see it. Like,
Provide
I'm
us that
outraged.
hope.
I
No,
can't.
this is not outreach. This is
Please, it's please let the populace of America, of which like 20% are fucking illiterate, to see this and make the right choice. Please do. Let's not talk to
no.
anybody.
I'm talking about.
Let's not
What do you think
engage these
organizing my
ideas and prove
community,
that they are
organizing
wrong.
community
Let's not
defense and
do
mutual
that.
aid is? I'm literally talking to the people in my area, organizing
I go to
structures
protests
to.
practically every single day, and there are
That's
people
nice.
at
Protests
every
are.
single and there are people at every single one that are engaged in these organizations that
Mhm.
did and possibly will again vote for fucking Trump. The reason why is because these ideas are not being adequately fucking examined and debated. They don't like the methods, they like the ideas. You need to adequately debate and examine the ideas. The reason America is pissed is the methods, not the ideas. They should be pissed about the ideas.
I mean, this is
Yep.
why I come out here onto these panels and try to share my particular ideas because, yeah, I'm not directly debating fascists, but sharing my ideas as an alternative to fascist or even liberal ideas is part of what I'm trying to do. So sharing ideas is what we should be doing. Like going into one-on-one debates with fascists isn't the way to get those ideas to win. It's by
So
showing them off and actually
are you okay
working
debating the
to.
ideas of fascism?
Are we
Giving
doing
those
that right now?
ideas the light and debating why they're wrong?
I
I'm
mean,
talking about
as
like
long
by
as the
yourself.
person
By
I'm talking
yourself.
to isn't a fascist, but
No, I'm
if
talking
they're
about by yourself.
if
By yourself.
by
If you're
myself,
gonna address. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I'm constantly doing that
So
in
what's the
my
difference?
head.
So what's the difference?
What's happening in my head isn't giving those ideas exposure to anyone else.
He believes they're gonna lie. Anyways, I believe my solution to it is tell them to militarize. Do like the Panthers did. If they come into your area with the fascist ideas such as a militarized police, then I'm just gonna say do what the Panthers did, whatever that might
And you know what?
entail.
You
And
know,
I
And
also
when the
I'm not
Panthers
opposed to
did
and at
that.
that,
the same time,
And when the Panthers did that in California, it got gun legislation passed. It still stands in
I know
California
that the first
today.
ever gun legislation that was passed.
So
Gun,
doesn't
gun
seem very
legislation that was
effective.
passed by Ronald fucking Reagan.
Well, it was a Republican, but it was what was his name again? Started with
No,
an
it
M,
was
right?
Ronald Reagan. He was
No, it was
governor
Reagan.
when that happened.
I have the same birthday
Yeah,
as
it
him.
was.
Oh,
Yeah, Reagan was governor of
It was
California
Reagan.
when the Panthers did their armed protest in front of the Capitol,
the Capitol.
and
Yeah.
within a few months, he signed legislation cracking down on weapon ownership and sales in California.
Not
Well,
based.
But it's California,
Trump
so
is
who
a big
really
fan
cares?
of Reagan.
I mean, it was Republican California at the time. It was because a bunch of armed black people came out that they supported that shit.
And so when we're talking about these ideas, like say
So you're saying we
we're
should
going
send
back
out
to
a bunch of
Trump
armed
again.
white people?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Sure.
Yeah.
So like when we're
Hard.
talking about the Trump deal, when we're telling people, hey, the economy is getting better, we came out of we got a soft landing out of a pandemic, we're giving the facts of what's going on, why inflation is happening the way it is, and then the fascist comes out and says, but your eggs are expensive. How are you
Well,
going to fight?
Let me tell you the solution to that. First off,
You explain
you're
why.
telling them only part of the truth. You're saying, well, we came out of COVID pretty well. Well, guess what, though? The inflation has been outpacing wage growth for about 50 years now. So they don't really look at what happened during COVID. They look at that. And you need to be talking to them in a way that would say, we're trying to fix that issue and thinking of ways on how you're going to fix that issue. Stop talking to them in the current present because their present is getting worse with every single presidential election, which is why every single presidential election, they're getting further and further away from wanting to hear the bullshit the Democrats want to tell them about how their present is is not as bad as we think it is compared to what it was 4 years ago. We'll only be eating beans for the fucking rest of our lives in 10 years. So be happy with what you have and don't vote for a Republican. It's
I
not
can see
an
why you
effective
feel that way
policy.
because that's what you heard. That's not what I heard. What I heard was, hey, we're coming out of this thing. We're taking steps to make things better. We're putting things in plan, or we're adding policies like the Inflation Reduction Act, things like this into place to make things better in the future. You're not believing this because you don't want to. And I think it was useful. I think the Inflation Reduction Act was helpful.
I'm not believing it because it's been, listen, man, you can only do that for so long before people start saying, well, this isn't this, like, you can say, okay, it's because of COVID. That was a special scenario. But then why haven't they done anything about this again for the past 50 years? I mean, if you want to know something, a little fact about the past 50 years, the low wage income, low wage earner, the median, the not median, but middle class wage income, and then the upper class. The bottom two have actually went much slower than inflation. Their wages have risen much slower than inflation, and the top earners have risen much faster than inflation. Now, some people might say it's because they make more money, but that's not how inflation works. It's the percent of change every single year. So if you believe that, let's say, inflation is increasing by 2% every year, just let's say that's what it is. Probably not the perfect number, but let's just say 2% every year. Okay, then the people in the lower wage increase and the median, the middle, and the top should be making another 2% if they want to keep up with inflation. Just keep up with wages. I mean, just keep up with inflation. But let's say the people at the top are getting another 4% every year, which means they're making $1 million. So they're getting another 4% of $1 million every year. Okay, the person in the middle is making 40,000 and they're getting another 170,000, another 1% every year. And the person at the bottom is also getting another 1% every year to the 30,000 they're making. Well, guess what? They're not keeping up with inflation while the person at the top is. And that's not because they're making more. It's because they're taking from those two who they're supposed to be paying more in the first place. That's the issue. That's what
And
people
who
are
are they
looking
listening
at.
to? And who are they listening to?
Both of the parties, Republicans and Democrats, have been allowing that for the longest. And the message Republicans pretend as if they can find a way to find a little bit more money to give the working class by kicking out a couple another million Mexicans. And people go, oh, well, that sounds better than what the Democrats are offering because they haven't really changed anything. You have to actually message something that sounds like it's going to change something for them. A real
So all I can
change.
say is you're looking at a situation where we've been playing political ping pong for years and years. Every time a Democrat comes in and starts to make change and give people like the Affordable Care Act and allows for them to have health care and more people being insured than ever in the history of America, then you have the next party come in and want to destroy all of that. So every time we do make these strides, and there's only so many things you can do at once, you end up back in the same position because the messaging from the other side is so deleterious to their well-being, but they can't see it because they're looking at the material conditions of it's not moving fast enough and it's not helping me right now.
Last 3-minute warning of open conversation.
Okay, I do want to like steer this back to the actual conversation this is supposed to be versus about
My fault.
essentially whether we should debate fascists, whether it legitimizes their bullshit.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like we're not talking about 10 years ago. We're not talking about 5 years ago. We're talking about today. Today is the time in which we exist. All right. At this point in time, many people would say that our current government is fucking fascist. I would like to know why you think that we should not debate the current government on the current government's policies. Why
We
is that
do.
a
They don't
bad
have
thing
any.
to do?
They don't have any.
I'm
They
not
never
saying that we
needed
should
them.
do nothing. I'm not saying we should do nothing else. I think that we should do a lot else. But why should we not debate them on their current policy? They have policy. It's a bullshit policy. It's executive order policy, but they have fucking policy. Why should we not debate them on that shit?
Okay, maybe I should clarify. What do you mean by debate? Because this whole time I've been thinking of this as like 1v1 style conversations as debate. Like
Public
maybe that
1v1, 2v2, 3v3. We're in a 3v3 debate right
okay.
now, right?
So if I am
Public, though.
if I
I mean
am
public.
the you know if I am looking at the news stories or watching recordings or reading, executive orders or other press releases, and I am directly countering those, that's not debate. That's just me, countering what they're saying, right?
You need to have like a conversation with people. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
okay.
I know that's very hard.
No.
for
I
you,
just
but
want to make sure that we're clear on what the word debate means here, because
conversation.
what you're talking about, like, yeah,
Aggressively.
we absolutely can and should be actively and loudly criticizing everything this regime does, everything any fascist does, but having those direct one-on-one, two-on-two, those direct person-to-person conversations is what we're saying there's no point doing, because and we see this whenever there are interviews with whatever news media. They have so many slimy rhetorical ways around whatever criticism you bring to their face that they can just take it off to some other thing, and they
Can I
will
give a
jump
very
from
quick
topic to
example?
topic.
Can I give a very quick example? Because I know we're running
Go
out of
ahead.
time. There was a debate or an interview actually recently. I'm forgetting who it was by. It was one of the major news outlets that was debating Trump. And Trump said some fucking stupid shit. And the interviewer came out with the facts, explained the facts, cited the facts, and Trump had essentially no fucking response. That is a form of debate here. That is what I'm saying is something that is needed, not only with interviewers.
And if
also
that were the
actually
norm, then I might change my mind, but it's not the norm by
yes, the
even a
normal
close
person in
margin.
America is retarded, including
No,
the
I'm
journalists.
saying the norm within the
That's it.
media.
No,
All right, I know our time's up, so I'll throw
That
it back to
happened before, and like literally, he was in the hand said MS-13 on him. I don't know. Look back again, and he's being told that's not
one
the
of the
case.
things that
People
the
actually
journalists-
believed
people
it.
called
People
him
still
retarded.
believe that the people's hands had MS-13
Centrists
on
called
them.
him retarded for that shit. You're
Yeah,
going
you
after
just gotta
centrists.
call
You're
the
not going
boomers
after
the
MAGA.
boomers and,
Anyways,
move
our,
on.
our time is up.
Your time is
That
up,
wasn't
but
exciting.
I was willing to let this roll. So the judges both agree that they don't necessarily need any more open communication or open conversation time. But we actually did have a request from one of the judges, and this is kind of an interesting idea, and I'd actually like to see how it goes. So the judges would like to see one from each team. Y'all feel free to nominate and discuss amongst yourselves. The judge would like to see the other team, each of you steelman the opposition's best positions, so as to demonstrate your understanding of the best arguments brought from the opposition. So again, Ancom, Lethe, and Toka amongst the three of y'all, and Game Boy, Gorps, and Lonzo. Decide amongst yourselves who is going to give a up to 3-minute explanation of the
I almost
other
feel like
side's
this should
best
happen
time.
after voting.
Also, Lethe, I
okay,
think you were
if you
trying
wanna-
to point to me, but you forget that your camera is reversed in your view. Were you pointing at me? Okay, cool. I will take that from our side. Absolutely.
Okay, so
I don't want it to be like
for them to give
like,
a persuasive, but
I feel like for a true steel man, like it shouldn't They shouldn't feel like it should affect their overall debate so far.
Nope. Okay. Since he just doxed himself as the judge who requested that particular thing, he is saying that he would rather this actually come after the voting, but before I assume
Can I
the
get back to that
MVP
real quick?
version, right? So we're gonna do it
Can I
that way
give an
instead.
idea real quick?
Go
Real
ahead,
quick.
Gorps. I'm listening because this is only our second time doing this. I'm still trying to find the best format, so I'm open to suggestions. Go ahead.
Well, chat is saying, and I think this is a good idea. I think ultimately it would be up to Chief because he posed the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Chat's saying that our side should choose their person to steal man, and their side should
Love
choose
it.
our.
Love
person
it
to
as
steal
well.
man.
I agree. We're going to do that after the voting then. But before we get the MVP rewards, so or awards. And by the way, we're going to keep doing this every other week. So I'm going to start tracking this in my channel just because I'd actually like to see a leaderboard tournament structure. Like maybe not a tournament, but just an overall like who's doing and who's gotten what and
Remember how I
whatnot.
spoke to you today?
I do remember that. Yeah. Why? Oh yeah. Now this is.
I just wanted you to remember.
I'm not a
that.
judge, my friend. I'm not a judge.
No, I'm
So-
talking to you though.
Okay,
Remember
gotcha.
how I'm a veteran? I've been here for a while.
All right, so
Yeah, you're a
back to
war criminal.
back to the next.
And remember how we all don't like Gorps?
all right.
The
So
fuck?
we have actually heard
That's
enough.
a good point. Shit.
We've heard enough of the open conversation.
Gorp is
So
pretty cool.
what we're going to do now is everybody's going to have up to 5 minutes for their closing arguments. While this is happening, chat and this is across the shared chat as well. If you guys have any good questions, at me with a question that you think should have been asked. We're not going to give it enough time to ask every single person, but if you have specific people or who you want asked, include that in the question. And you can do that in the course of the 5-minute closings. They will not be paying attention to that, hopefully, but I guess some of them will, and they'll be able to get some prep time on their answers. But that will be the last thing we do before the judges render their decisions. Go ahead. What were you going to ask, Corpse?
I said I won't look.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so no, and by the way, the participants in the channel or in the debate are not allowed to pose questions. Game Boy. All right, so I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. We're going to start back from scratch, which was Ancom who went first. Ancom, are you ready for your 5-minute closing, sir?
Yep.
All right, when you're ready, let's go.
All right. You don't debate flat earthers. You ignore them or you mock them. You don't debate anti-vaxxers. You ignore them or you mock them. You don't debate climate change deniers or creationists. You ignore them or you mock them. If any of them were to get into power and try to implement some harmful part of their ideology, you fight them. This is what you do with fascists. You ignore them, you mock them, or when necessary, you fight them. That's my time.
Okay, right on. And restart that. Go back to number 2, which is going to be Game Boy. Game Boy, are you ready for your 5-minute close?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
We should encourage debate only when it's smart to do so, and it should be taken by a case-by-case basis instead of deterring all forms of debate because we refuse to put ourselves in position of power or positions where we can have a head over the fascists. The fascists will be more than glad to use any means to get into power. We should use any means to undermine them. Debate is one of those methods, but we should make sure that people who are appropriate to do so are the only ones who are debating or the only ones encouraged to debate. Because if you have someone like Alonzo said, Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, they are platforming these people for no apparent reason. So we understand the criticisms of debating fascists. We would just like to encourage it by a case-by-case basis with people who are knowledgeable to engage. And that'll be it.
All right. Yeah, that was Game Boy there. So now we're going to go to Lethe on the affirmative side. Are you ready for your 5-minute closing, Lethe?
I am.
Then go ahead.
So, as we've pointed out multiple times, giving legitimacy to people and allowing their views to be heard, even if critically and even with fact checkers, you're still going to have an issue of these people are going to be humanized in a way that they may just get based on personality, hiding their power level, dog whistling, whatever, get people on their side, and that's going to bolster harms in the future. Keeping these harms from being being an outlet of these harms, you don't want to be complicit in what's being done here. So definitely I agree with my partner Ancom. You ignore it or you mock it. You can point out the flaws in the issues, you can point out these arguments are being made, but to actually bring this person on and debate them is just you being complicit in whatever it is that they're doing. Because if you end up giving them any sort of steam in doing so, maybe you had a bad debate performance, whatever, you're going to have a problem. And just debating them for the lulz, just thinking you can make them look stupid and you fail, you just screwed all of us. And that's my time.
Hey. And now we're going back over to the negative side. Gorps, with your 5-minute closing, are you ready?
Yep. I'm gonna quickly address another closing. Flat earthers. I was told in another closing that you should not debate. I have. There's a video on my YouTube of me debating a goddamn flat earther, and you know what I did? I mocked him the entire time, and I also debated every retarded idea he had. You could do both of these things. If you are a bad debater, of course, do not debate a fascist. You're going to make them look good. You're going to legitimize them. However, I think that any decent debater should debate a fascist. You can make them look retarded with even the simplest of ideas, come with facts, sources, even fucking logic alone can commonly do it. If they make you look retarded, you're just a bad debater. That's it. That's all. It's as simple as that. Debate fascists, make them look stupid, make them look illiterate, as they often do, and that's all you need to do. You have delegitimized their point to at least some of your viewers, and that is the entire point of a debate. It's not the person you're talking to, it is the people that are watching you talk to this person. Thank you.
Right. Now we're on the final debater for the affirmative Toka with the last word for your team. You ready to go with your 5 minutes?
Yes, indeed.
All right, go ahead.
So ultimately, like, fascists are just stupid people who think they're smart, right? And, if you're going to debate someone who is stupid, but they think they're smart, there's just no debating them. They're set in their ways. So I just don't think that it's worth putting in the effort. Not only that, but as we've already talked about, it, platforming them, things like that is just, it gives more stupid people the opportunity to be stupid. And I think that it's just, it's just a recipe for disaster, and hopefully that won't happen in the future if we can avoid the topic of fascism, I guess, going forward, because like I said, I hope it dies out. It's ultimately my thing. But yeah, so mainly, it's just not, it's like they have no point. There's no point to debate. There's nothing to debate. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not a debatable point. That's what all I mean. That's my time. Sorry.
Right. And now, Lonzo on the negative, the final word for your team, sir. Are you ready with you?
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I'm not cutting out, right?
Nope, sound great.
Not yet.
Not
It just
yet.
happens. It happens randomly.
Damn. Okay, so I've always found that fascists are really easily to give up. So if you don't debate them, they'll clearly just walk away from the podium and say, "It's okay, it's time." You know, they've outsmarted us. They found our secret is that if we don't have anybody to yell at, then we can't gain power in the country, because that's worked time and time again. Now, on a serious note, the idea of not debating a fascist is found in the idea of just closing your eyes and hoping that they go away, which, as you can probably guess, sounds like a liberal to me, but maybe not to some of you. I prefer to handle things head on. I think that debating them is a great way to deal with it. I think that talking about why their ideas are stupid and why they hold no real world solutions to any of the problems that they speak about, and that the only thing that they can build themselves on is being a populist through fake populism, is a great idea. I think pointing those things out is a very good idea. I think that liberals are just dog shit at doing it because they're horrible at being populist. Nobody wants to hear a person who will side with a corporation at every chance they get tell them about how the person who won't send who's going to send a million illegal immigrants across the border isn't going to do better for their pockets than them. It's absurd, because though their policies are better, their policies are not perceived as better because they don't change the reality for most of these people in a good enough way for them to actually think that anything's changing. And of course, Republicans make it worse, obviously. I mean, they give the biggest tax cuts to the billionaires out there. However, why don't the Democrats reverse any of these things? Why don't they put anything in place that counteracts it? Why don't they strongly message against it? Ever. You never heard any of them talk about how bad it is that the Republicans keep giving all these tax cuts to the billionaires. You never heard it before from a single one of them. And you know why they don't do it? Because they're fine with it. And you know who messages against it? People like Bernie Sanders, people like AOC. AOC's a little shaky right now. And people like Zoran Mamdani. And why do you think they're so popular? Why do you think they're so popular with the people that we are always told only want to go for the Republicans? They're the fascists. Oh, well, guess what? Bernie Sanders is building this coalition of a bunch of young white men. Oh, no, we should be scared. Well, guess who votes for the Republicans every fucking election? Have you noticed that the only thing that they're actually winning a majority in is white men every single election? And that's getting enough for them to win? Oh, so maybe we should try and get some of them towards the left. Oh, but we're going to say that it's the horseshoe theory. So Bernie Sanders is too far left. It brings it right back around to fascism, apparently. No, the issue is that liberals always drag the conversation away from actually trying to bring these people away from fascism. It's not that it's bad to debate the fascists. It's that it's bad for a liberal to do it. That's my whole point. And it's not complex to see it. It's been shown throughout history, but it's also being shown currently in the country. It has been shown for the past 10 years. Because Trump would have never have gotten this popular if the liberals in our country would have not only taken a stronger argument against his populist ideas, but if they would have also not have tried to tear down the person who had the most power against them in his arguments, Bernie Sanders, for saying that, oh, he's attracting a bunch of young white men to his. That's terrible for us. That must mean he's a fascist. It's just bad practice, and it's honestly bad politics. It almost seems as if they want to. So my main point here is really not that it's bad to debate fascists, or that's good to debate fascists. My point here is mainly that if you're a liberal, please stay out of a fucking debate. That's it.
Okay, and that is everybody. So back to I guess the plan here. Nobody in chat seemed to throw any questions at you guys. Surprise, surprise. So
Chat, you're all pussies.
that's fine. It just means that you guys already answered all their questions.
Can we use my question? I feel like the rule was a bit arbitrary.
You feel like
I'm
the
curious
You're
just
not
what his
in the
question was.
audience. Your questions
Yeah,
don't
yeah, no,
count.
you're
You had your
you're-
opportunity
Yeah.
to ask
Can we
questions.
just hear what his question was? Because I didn't see it.
sure. Ask the question again, Game Boy.
Should we allow Gorp to debate?
Now, are you glad you heard that, Gorps? Only reason I let him say it was because it was you who asked. So, okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and I think that the judges have already made their decisions. I don't know if they necessarily want to do it publicly out loud and such, or if they want to like send it to me. It's entirely up to you guys. I feel like
They should stand by their choices.
okay. No, fair
ahead.
enough. Got called
Don't
out.
be anonymous.
So,
Thompson Simpson, I stand by my story.
well, all
Well,
right.
tell me what you vote.
Well,
Tell me who you voted for.
all right. So
I want to know who has to pay $20 or who gets it for free.
I also, real quick, want the chat, anybody in chat, and since I'm not going to try and get everybody from all of the shared chats to jump into one chat for a poll, I'm just going to say an AFF or an A, just put in an A if you think it was the affirmative who won, an N if you think it was the negative who won. That is going to be the top people up here. That's Lethe, Ancom, and Tocahontas are on the affirmative side. And Game Boy, Gorps, and Lonzo are on the negative side. So if people want to go ahead and start slamming your votes into the group chat, and do that while, let's say, Chief, you put your camera on already. Why don't you go ahead and go first? Lay out we just want to hear your vote for which team won. Because again, we're going to reserve the who was the best debater until after the Steel Manning spot. So, Chief, microphone is all yours.
Well, We're just going to keep it brief because we're going to go more into detail like
After,
the fact, right?
Yep.
Okay, then my vote is for the neg side.
Okay. Chief says 1 vote for the negative. Cool. Now, Koina, your turn. Did you go for the affirmative or for the negative? Did you fall asleep, Koina? Coin, you're muted.
His mic lit up for a half second.
Oh, there you are.
There
Yep.
you go.
He's
Yeah,
there.
no.
He's there.
No, I said that
He's
makes me
just-
happy. I went affirmative.
Oh, okay. So we've got 1 vote
Rigged.
for 1 judge for
Way
the
to go,
affirmative,
Gorb.
1 for the negative. That means that it's going to go to the chat. I'm going to go ahead and let that keep going for a few seconds. I'm going to scroll up. I haven't even been looking, so I'm going to scroll up and do a quick count and see. It looks like it's going to fall to democracy to decide who won this debate. Let's see.
It's all fake.
Of course, it's all fake, and of course, everybody who
Democracy
thinks
is rigged and fascist.
What is it? What they say? Stop the steal.
Unless we
Stop the
win.
steal. Stop. The
is this
If we
mail-in
win-
ballots? Is that
We're
what's
gonna-
happening?
We're going to recount. I think 130 grandma voted. Actually,
Too big to rig.
how many
Uh,
times did you vote, grandma?
Lethy's team, once again, for everybody voting, Lethy is going to be an A. Lethy, Ancom, and Pocahontas were on the affirmative side because they believe that debating
Way to go,
fascists helps
Gorb.
legitimize their ideologies. On the
All the
negative
numbers on your
side,
screen. Cast your vote now.
on the negative side, God, if I could just fucking have somebody set that shit up for me, that'd be dope. So on the negative side, Game Boy, Gorps, and
Looks like we have another
Lonzo.
thing for me to set up for you later.
Again, if I had, I've said it so many times, like if I had a Jamie, you know what I mean? Like somebody who just knew how to do all that shit and just magically made it fucking, or as my wife likes to
I
say,
think you have
automagically.
multiple of them in this call.
Yeah, but I
Okay,
can't
then.
ask y'all to do that shit because that's not like, yeah,
I can. I'll rig it. It's fine.
Huge. All right, so now I feel like we've given it plenty of time. Again, that's A's for affirmative, N's for negative, and let's go ahead and scroll it up.
Yeah, all these.
Oh, has somebody else been counting?
Still
Somebody else
there.
been counting? There's the go. Okay.
All I see is A's. All I
I
see
see an
is
A. I
No,
see an
okay.
A.
All I see is ends.
I
Too big to
see
rig.
an
Too big to rig.
N.
I see a sponsored
A,
photo,
that's
by
funny.
the way, which should not be counted.
I also see Gorpsery Clinton.
A.
Due to my dyslexia, I can't see any A's or N's.
A.
Actually, that's not how it
Hey.
works, but that's how I see it.
Okay, it looks like the
Hey.
people
didn't
have
you just vote one
spoken. The will of the people and all that jazz. Looks like the affirmative team takes the win tonight. So congratulations.
For once, democracy
Rigged.
didn't give it to the
Recount.
fascists.
I'm actually vaguely surprised that was how that went, just
Fake news.
because I thought from the tone of the chat it was going the other direction. But that said, now we're gonna go to what Let's Chief had requested. We are going to ask for 1 member of each team. Y'all can decide from yourselves who's going to do this. To
I thought
offer
we were
up.
deciding opposite teams.
Oh, my bad. Excuse me.
people are
You're
saying my
right.
argument
That
Yeah,
is
is
correct.
I was like, wait, we said that each team would,
Yep.
would
No,
select the
you're
opposite.
choosing. I
Yeah,
forgot.
Gorpsery Clinton's trying to murk the opposition again.
Marijuana done me wrong. I
Sorry, it's
apologize,
those
everybody.
Russian emails they told me to.
I'm going to go ahead and go with the opposite of who went first earlier. It was the affirmative went. So negative. I'm going to ask the affirmative. Who would you guys like on the negative team to make their best case for your position? I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. I think that's a reasonable ask. 2 minutes solid from your position. Affirmative. Who would you like to hear make your case? Talk amongst yourselves.
I feel like Game Boy was the most like hardcore on the negative here, so I think I could be wrong, but he might have the hardest time steel manning our side.
Damn.
I don't know.
That's
Gorps
not
is a
even
professional
true.
bag fumbler, so that might be. No, I'm going to go with Game Boy.
The Gorps hate in this
Shots
is just
fired.
off. This is the first time I have ever interacted with Gorps. I do not understand the Gorps hate.
Same.
There's no hate. It's
Same.
all love.
Yeah, it's
all
hard to hate
It's
Gorps.
all love. Yeah.
It's all hate.
No,
I'm being
no, we
targeted.
all hate Gorp. That's why I got him deplatformed for a month. Why do you think he was gone?
Okay, so Lethe and Toka, who do you all like? Who do you want to hear? Everybody come to
I
an
agree.
agreement.
Game Boy. I want the disembodied voice.
Okay, Toka, you agree?
Yeah.
Game Boy, you have been called forward. We need you to make the best 2-minute case, and we're asking for you to do this in good faith, sir. Steelman the opposition and give us a 2-minute, solid 2 minutes of why the other team's position, so that debating fascists does indeed help legitimize their ideologies. We're not going to give you too much time to prepare here. I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 minutes on the clock and go.
Funny, I should be the one because I literally offered to Radish that I would be on y'all's side just to make an argument. I
Amazing.
think that there is a good argument to say that platforming in a group of people who are openly inciting violence is going to be harmful and will perpetuate those ideas because they're on the world stage. And with people like Donald Trump, there's a history of, if they can get attention, they will attract a movement and a cult of personality behind them, like Mussolini, like Hitler. Both y'all mentioned them as examples. And platforming these people who will openly destroy your beliefs if they get into power or if they get influence is a terrible idea to run a society. And you should not incentivize these people to actively thirst for more attention if you're willing to give it to them, because the moment you give them attention, the more you're going to concede certain points, or your audience may be convinced by those points to say, hey, look at them on NBC, or look at them on Fox News, look at them on this, look at them at that, and they're seen as rational. They are seen as worthy to debate. You're legitimizing their authority, you're legitimizing their voice, because you understand that they are treated as equals on the world stage, as people who have been agreed with by society and by the mass groups of people. If you're able to be if you're agreed to debate you by people who are widely respected, that means you at least have some motion to be respected yourself.
All right, very well said, sir. And you definitely understood the assignment. Congratulations. I wasn't going to say nothing, but I'm glad that you did mention the fact that you had actually come in prepared to argue either side. So the fact that you got called out made me giggle on the inside, but I wasn't going to say it. Like I said, it's dope that you called it out. All right, but now we're going to flip this. Gorps, Lonzo, and Game Boy. Who do you want to hear from the affirmative side disagree with their inherent position and tell us why debating fascists does not help legitimize their ideology?
Better not silence.
Boys, I want to see Tonka.
Toka.
Okay. Lonzo, do you agree? Okay. Sounds like it's you, Tokahannes. Tokahannes, you are going to have 2 minutes. We need you to make the best argument you possibly can for a solid 2 minutes as to why you do not agree with the prompt, or at least give us the best arguments from the other side. And 2 minutes on the clock. Go ahead.
So debating fascists, I'll say it again, it makes their ideas seem worth addressing. It makes it seem like
Other way
they have a
around.
Oh, other way around. You gotta be on their side.
You're
Oh, I
devil's
have to be-
advocate
oh.
here.
I'm gonna stop and restart the
Sorry, I'm
time.
a
Nope, I was not
Yes,
clear. I'm
I'm so
sorry.
sorry. It's
You
my
need to
fault.
steel man the opposition, ma'am. You need to explain their position back for 2 minutes. And
Okay,
go
let's
ahead.
go. So debating fascists, it's like I did kind of mention how it's contradictory to our point that it would be like excluding people from debate, etc. But I think it would be interesting to hear the other side of the other point of view so that we could understand where they're coming from and be prepared to take actions against them, basically. And I ultimately think that we should be exposing these people, not debating them. I think there's a big difference between exposing and debating, and I think that we can expose fascists without debating them, and hopefully not give them a platform and just expose them for what they are and not have to make it seem like there's something that or is worth listening to or worth giving your time to, and that we can just take the ultimate oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Take the ultimate, step back and not have to affiliate with those types of ideas and I'm tripping over my words right now. Don't laugh at me, fool.
I'm
Sorry.
not.
I'm
I'm
loving
not.
that.
No, he's laughing at what Game Boy's got on his
Okay,
on the
okay.
screen.
Oh, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah. That's what I'm laughing at. Yeah.
yeah, so I think there's a big difference between debating and exposing, and I think that we should expose them. That's my final point.
Okay. And good stuff. So,
Can I ask why I'm the fucking demon of this call?
You know why?
Also,
Don't act like
Game
you're
Boy.
ignorant to what's going on
What-
here.
What did
Game
I
Boy,
do?
earlier you put up a picture of an old balding man with a long beard sitting in a chair with a newspaper
That was
and wrote
Kropotkin.
fascist.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was Kropotkin, but I was like, I couldn't find that
It
picture
was the
of him
one
anywhere.
reference I knew you would get, and no one else
Okay.
would, so I put him on.
All right, fair enough. Like I was like, that looks like Kropotkin, but I couldn't be sure because I spent a good 5 minutes trying to find that picture and I couldn't.
all
It
right.
was
So,
like the first one.
so real quick,
Oh,
I just
wow.
want ADD kids. Let's bring it back. So, real quick, we're gonna go ahead and tie a bow on this. Now that we've heard y'all's Steelman attempts, I would like to turn back to the judges for the MVP. Who do y'all believe was the best overall debater and or interlocutor for the evening? We'll go through it again, same direction. Chief, who did you have down as the MVP for the night?
Well, I'm all
And
about
why?
that. I'm all about that Socratic method. So if you have some great questions with an idea in mind to really a position, I feel like you're kind of really looking ahead and prepared for the argument. And for that reason, I've chosen Gorps as my MVP.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. And then Coin, going back over to you. Who did you have down for your MVP? Who do you think brought it tonight?
I thought it was really, really close between two people. I ended up giving it out to Ancom. I thought he described the couple different ways that he thought about it really well and broke it down in a really logical manner. But I would also give the shout out to Gorps. He was the runner up.
Okay.
For pretty much the same reasons. They're really good questions.
Okay, that's interesting. So the losing team had the two MVPs, right? So that's pretty interesting. Oh no, you said Ancom. You said Ancom was your pick. My bad. I'm sorry. So that's one from each team. Yeah. Well, that was
So I wasn't even in discussion.
Yeah, no,
That's
you.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm not even mad, really. I'm just
Well, now I'm not gonna help that though. But I'm just gonna put out. I'm only gonna put out my own personal MVP pick, and I gotta actually give it to Game Boy, especially I was on the fence. There was all of y'all did amazing, right? I enjoyed the hell out of this, but I got to say, being able to bring the fire like that and to be able to demonstrate your understanding of the opposition as clearly as you did, even again, I honestly, and not to mention the fact that multiple times Game Boy kept bringing it back to the prompt, kept trying to, and I also wanted to say though that a very important thing, and this is something that one of the judges, and you're welcome to chime in once I've dropped this bomb. Definition of terms barely happened until the end of the fucking debate. Again, Lethe did a little bit and Gorps did a little bit, but the fact that y'all seemed to completely disregard the definitions of the terms until that last little bit, at least that's what it looked like to me. But again, that said, I enjoyed the hell out of it. We know our winners. We know our teammates. Anybody who wants to join in, you're now welcome to.
Actually, I'll second your compliment to Game Boy, just so he compliment for me. Game Boy is a fucking wild card. Okay, so Game Boy is a wild card. So he was just me, and I'm like, I don't know if fucking anything to this. And then he would go on some rants that seemed like he had some moments there, but he would lose the thread occasionally. But sometimes Game Boy has these moments of clarity where he really delivers start to finish on his thoughts, and he definitely had a few of those today. So yeah, good job, Game Boy.
Thank you. I didn't need no spreadsheet this time.
Notice how it was the judge on the other side that gave it to the other side. It was just on our side that gave it to the proper person and gave a compliment to another proper person who I think equally deserved it. I just want to point that out.
That's only because you sucked up to him before this whole thing began.
No, so really for me it was it came down to the discussion solely being about like platform, like as far as like all of us, like nobody here like really has a platform. Like as far like Gorps pointed out, the president's like the biggest platform you could get, so it doesn't get more legitimizing than that. I felt like, you know, I feel like it's really good to come prepared like several steps ahead in like the back and forth, like being able to argue both sides, like Game Boy had mentioned being able to do. But like some like real like questions that Lonzo and Game Boy pointed out. I do have a note from Lonzo. He asked, let's see, like he asked, would you turn fascist if you like watched a debate? Someone had asked, like, would you debate the ideas themselves? And I think that was a good segue to be like, well, if you're debating the ideas themselves, then like, what's the difference from having like a talking head giving the same ideas and being able to kind of like tear that down? I thought that was interesting.
I got that note as
On
well.
the app side, though, just to give credit there, like, you know, providing exposure is bad, but I feel like that was like the bulk of the argument was the exposure idea of it. But if like the event's happening anyway, I would expect someone would come hard and come out hard and say, you know what, we should just completely like stop that event from happening altogether. Like if they shouldn't be platformed, like just because I'm not having that discussion doesn't mean the discussion's not happening. Like it would have been interesting to get into that territory about like where the line could be drawn there. But yeah, exposure obviously is like a big deal, and like Lethe mentioning like the risk being great. Like I think that was a fantastic point. But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at. But you know, you're providing exposure. They're kind of like smuggling in like they're bad people, right? But then when they get in power, they do pull the rug out on debate and critique on their own ideas. Like that's all like super valid. But I don't know, you know, that didn't win it for me. That's all.
All right, Coiny, do you have good notes? Do you have anything like feedback or comments, or what persuaded you, or what did you like, dislike?
Yeah, kind of. The thing that kind of sold me was I was pretty much tracking along with what Chief was saying outside of what I think it was Lethe said in response to that, where like it's worth debating him because obviously like Trump is president